wait.
Hello.
Hold on, there we are. Hello, everybody. Um, I totally didn't forget to unmute our mics very quickly, but it's okay. Hello.
Hello.
Just
Just yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that our audio levels were good, not to have a repeat of last time. Hello, Palace. So
Finn, you definitely said audio lovers.
no, I didn't.
Definitely. I heard you say audio lovers. Like making sure
I
audio lovers are good.
I think you're crazy. Something that actually, Palace, it's good that you're here to start off because I was doing a little bit of looking through the 5e module and I realized that I made a second mistake about my first mistake. Um, Namely that, if, what's it? Uh, Nimbats actually have a walking speed of 25 feet, not 30 at base because they are the small and the small species in D&D have 5 less feet of movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why the grassland was at 30, but I'm actually buffing that 35 anyway because these are supposed to be fast boys. So that's them. But anyway, that's the 5e mod. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly to do about Tundra. They're just kind of it's not that they're but I just don't know what else to do with them. Um yeah. I changed jungle nimbats to have as long as they are hovering and can see the attacking creature and the attacking creature is larger than them, then they get a +2 AC. Um but that's it. Uh
Yeah.
Frequency, I know that you're not really a D&D nerd, so this probably doesn't make a lot
I
of
mean,
sense
I
to you,
kind
but
of, but I wanna be.
uh yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, so that's kind of that's where we're at with that. So, but anyway, frequency.
Meow.
You
Hello.
said you had ideas, things.
Ideas. Yeah. Okay.
You had a
So
topic that you brought up or that you
right.
wanted to bring up.
So I guess this is kind of the bit where we like when we were talking earlier about the Nimbat variants or the
Mhm.
subspecies, implementing them in D. But I kind of wanted to sit down and talk a little bit more about like just like what the fuck are they? Because at
Right.
this point, with how long we've been operating, it's like we're kind of used to a lot of colony Nimbats.
Mhm.
We're used to like the old standard
Mhm.
and how they look, how they behave, and that. And they're like, all right, well, what are these guys? Who is this
Yeah.
spunky little motherfucker?
Scrunkles. Yeah.
And then
I
who is this mother fluffer over here?
Which one? There are a lot of those.
Tundra.
So
They're especially
oh yeah.
fluffy.
Yeah. So I guess like the non kayfabe version of why we wanted to make them in the first place is really to provide more uh customization and whatnot bases for people to like make their own designs about because like
Yeah.
while we have if you look at I mean just between me and frequency here on the screen we're pretty different looking, like we're still very much notably a Nimbat, but
Yeah, I'm
I am
taller than him.
considerably fluffier. um
At least I'm taller.
you are not though.
Yes, I am. I
No,
am the tallest.
you're not. What? You are not the
Liar.
tallest, you're the small.
Nuh-uh.
How tall is frequency?
You're gaslighting me on stream. I can't believe this.
I don't like this. Anyway, so
Yeah.
so while frequency would be like typically you would consider yourself like a forest Nimbat, yeah?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. So frequency is a forest Nimbat. I suppose Finbat would be closest to a tundra because I am very the fluff. But it's a little bit more complicated than that because and this is actually something I didn't think about when I was thinking about subspecies. It's that like technically Finbat is just Nimbatted Fin proper,
Yeah.
which is why I'm particularly fluffy. But technically, that's like not really even correct. But that's beside the point. Um, so
I mean, it's only a matter
it's
of time until Finbat starts fucking barking.
well, no, I don't think Finbat would ever bark. I think
Nope.
he's very
Okay.
much a wah in a way sort of guy.
Wow. Okay. He's got a
So
little bit of panda in him.
a little bit, yeah, a little bit, but not really. But anyway,
He
so that's something I didn't really think about of like the Nimbatification process for people. But that's something that we can handle at another time, I suppose.
yeah.
Most importantly, though, and most notably, um, when making a Nimbat character, I was noticing. Again, this is like out of kayfabe. Of To define kayfabe real quick, it's just like the fake world of any individual property. It comes from wrestling, but we'll make it work here. Uh, so in the kayfabe of Nimbat Colony, or out of the kayfabe of that, I wanted it to make it so that like people had more options to like base their characters off of. Um, just because like a normal forest Nimbat is cool because we're Nimbats and all that, but like what if we took that central design and kind of created what is it, divergent forms, I guess is the word, the way to say it. Frequency, you have an anthropology
A lot of
background.
the yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, anthropology is a completely different fucking
Well, no,
thing.
I know, but
Right.
like it's, you know what I mean, in the sense of like it's
More or less. Like, we're kind of
yeah,
providing a lot of it's kind of interesting to provide some context to when, you have, like, very drastically different characters and stuff.
yeah,
So, you kinda start off with, like again, going back to the forest and that example, um, and, we have one we have, like, our base designs and stuff, and then from there, we just kind of, like, mostly have stories that are aligned with that of the colony, and then maybe a few, like, outliers here and there, like Frequency was, for example, like, when I made her, like, it was not really with anything but the colony in mind, and much of
yeah.
that story is intact. Um, and then ever so slowly, I kinda started to drift out of not just the colony, but, like, also, like, out of that general vicinity. Like,
Mhm.
what are characters, or just, like, what would Nimbats look like in other parts of the world? And that's
Yeah.
honestly sort of, what really sparked this kind of idea
Yeah. I it was like in
was
kayfabe.
when
Yeah.
you! No,
What?
what really sparked this idea for me was when I was watching, Ren design Nutsia.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, right there and then, I was like, "Alright, I know exactly what Fat Cat's gonna fucking be about, like, look at her, like, fucking that's a dancer, and she makes me
Mhm.
go, 'Hey,' and I want her
Yeah.
to sit on my favorite
Yeah.
chair." And, so, um, but and I also just kinda like, when I have characters that I somewhat care about, I try to give them, like, a little bit of, like, writing, like, what the hell is going
Yeah.
on? And on her end, it's like okay, with her whole getup, there is no fucking way that she was born and raised in local colony
Would she
standard.
would she be a grassland Nimbat then?
I actually considered that she was raised, like, in the East, like, I'm thinking more like, um, Himalayas,
Oh,
hanging
like
out with
Gale
the
Rider
monks,
then.
things like that, yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, hanging out with those folks, like, the idea I had for it was that so, you're kinda born within, like, those mountainous regions
Mhm.
and, mostly raised by monks,
Right.
and then later on, she would migrate a little bit more westward, where she would be, meandering more around oasis areas,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where she picked up her dancing tradition
Mhm.
practice, and then she got even more westward, and then it's like, "Oh god, now she's in the colony."
Yeah.
Um, but that was kind of like the first step into this tiny little hole. that
Mm.
we've dug ourselves in for
Tiny is a very
pretty big ol' yeah.
yeah. So
Uh,
yeah,
like,
the
yeah, ideally, like, it was basically just the start from there where it's like,
mm,
okay, well, like, Narutia, at least for me, was, like, the first glimpse of, like, how very different they could be, depending on just, like, where they're actually from, and
yeah.
then there, it kinda became a topic of, like, "Okay, well, hey, why don't we, talk about more?"
I think the biggest jump with that though was when Ren created Maya's sister Eden.
That too, yeah.
I think that was like the point where we were like, all right, we got to start thinking about this because for those who don't know, Eden is Maya Ren's Nimbat's sister, and she is a northern expanse Nimbat or a tundra bat, as we have now developed. Where basically she's just big and stocky and fluffy, and that's kind of like that's a lot of what
Yeah.
she is, and for that's really the first one, like the first subspecies we thought of was tundra. Um, and I mean, in world, in kayfabe, it just makes sense that like Nimbats adapt a little bit more to their surroundings. Especially because part of the whole thing with them is that they are a very adaptive species. That's kind of part of like their whole thing, whether that be magic or like their way of life or whatever. They change, and that's cool and all. Um, so tundras were first, and then from there it was I think me and Ren in frequency. We just sat down. Honest, actually, I think it was me. I
Yeah,
think
like,
what I did
you
because this
came
is
up with,
what
like
happens to me every so often is like when I was in I'm saying when I was in school, like this was like last year, 2 years ago. Um, I was writing a lot, and there was a day where myself and my teammates for film class needed to like make a concept, make a script, write it up, have it ready. And I was like, all right, guys, you guys can do whatever you want. I'm going to put my headphones on and I'm just going to bang this out in like half an hour. And then literally half an hour later, there was like a 12-page screenplay done.
I'm gonna say it,
And what?
I'll bang you out. Eh!
Okay, look. So I, what happens sometimes is I drop into a fugue state when I get an idea and I just go. And that's kind of what happened with these guys because Tundra happened, and then I was like, man, we need more ideas. We need other ones too because like just having cold and warm is, in my opinion, not enough. But that's not to say that like these are end all be all the seven or whatever.
Mhm.
Because most notably recently, actually, we had the idea for the jungle Nimbat being like similar to a bird of paradise or a hummingbird. And then Ren and I kind of sat down and we tried like started to kind of like develop how it would actually look. And then we were like, wait a second, this doesn't really work. um, in the sense of like the original idea for a jungle Nimbat was like a hummingbird. They fluttered around constantly and they didn't really land much, meaning that their peats were smaller and their wings were uh, more sleek and aerodynamic, and they were just like they were constantly flapping wings. Now, in theory, that is good. In theory, that's like a really interesting design. And then Ren and I sat down to think of the like anatomy of it, and then we were like, uh oh, this doesn't really work how we want it to. Um, because notably in the game, Fidget actually does flutter around all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and that's cool and good. And not that that's bad, but it's
She
also
flutters
like,
around and she will never shut the fuck up.
that's so true. But the thing with the thing with that is really that they like I don't think Dean really thought about it, and that's fine. And also, notably, Fidget's wings don't really flap all that fast. like they're fast in the
They're
sense that she
risky.
hovers, but like
Yeah.
they're not like hummingbird level fast, I would argue.
Yeah, no. Like, they're more like they are rapid, but just, like,
Yeah,
reasonably rapid.
yeah. So instead of trying to force that, we put jungle back on the back shelf. Um, though it is still in the 5e module, just because it is still a good concept that we like. It's just not one that we're gonna draw out quite yet. But
Yeah.
suffice it to
Become
say, it doesn't mean that the five or six, I think, tundra, woodland, grassland, gale rider, cave, aquatic, yes, six,
yeah.
are the end all be all, because I'm 1000% sure that down the line we'll be like, wait a second, what about this kind or this kind? And then we'll keep on
The thing to really
whooping
consider,
them out.
and, this is the part where I get to even called it my fucking anthropology degree. It's like, no, it's
Uh-huh.
not what I'm using in this instance because I'm not talking about culture. I'm
Uh-huh.
talking about biology thingy.
Yeah,
This,
that's what I
uh,
meant.
yeah, fucking guess.
Well, look,
It's actually like very quick side note, and I'll get right back to
I'm gonna
Batcat. So like,
time
it's
you
just
on this.
actually so funny where it's just like people are like, "Oh, what's anthropology? Do you study furries?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Well, I mean, technically, yes. I suppose
Technically,
that's
no.
no, it's a part of culture, isn't it?
No, it's not. I mean, okay, like when I say culture, I'm talking more about like in regards to ethnicity
Oh,
and
okay.
different
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, parts of the world and things like that. The way how different people interact with one thing or another in the
What
world.
would you call what kind of scientist
Furries is
would
more like
study
a
the furry
subculture.
subculture?
Um, I don't know and I don't care.
It's Palace says it's the study
Like
of human development, correct?
human development, not really, because
I'm
that would
Googling it.
imply so many things. A person that studies furries specifically is like that's called a weirdo.
No, it's not. Anthropology is the study of human societies and cultures and their development.
Yes,
Frequency.
but
The study of furries is anthropology.
no, it's not. And I'm gonna tell you why that is. Because furries is not necessarily this like furries is what you would mostly call an online subculture. Like it within
I would
itself,
call it a
like
subculture, period, but yes.
it's an online subculture. Like, okay,
Mm.
yes, it does have like a lot more like in-person presence, especially nowadays. And who knows how it'll go like later down the line. Like, give it like a fucking 100 years and see
Right,
what's going
so
on with
yeah,
it.
sure.
Then we can talk. But at the current
Anthropology
moment,
is when a furry is sorry, says Crush. Yeah.
uh, but anyway, I'll talk more about the bad cat.
Yeah. No,
Otherwise, I'm gonna go into
yeah, I'm gonna like I'm not gonna argue it with you, but I am in my I have my I have my inclinations. That's what I'll say.
I'll argue. I have a degree. What do
Yeah,
you?
a degree.
No.
I have a degree in being better at proving you wrong.
What the fuck? Let me
Well,
see it. I'll bite it.
no, it's on my thing across
Let's
the
get
room,
a
and I'm
new
not gonna
one.
go there. No. Anyway, so
Batman.
yeah.
So
So are
a lot of
the
it when it
big six? Let's talk about the big six. Do they use a ukulele as well?
I would.
The apology video from a furry just being like, "Oh man." Okay, so to talk briefly more. That's not really a thing. About
That's
Batcats.
like Bo Shrimp.
What?
It's like briefly more. It's like what are you like Jumbo Shrimp?
Well, look. So
Looking.
the Um, most notably, we have our six subspecies, and I want to talk about them a little bit more because we've talked about them on stream, but um, excuse me, those haven't really been archived. So, oh god. Ugh. So anyway, so we have our main. Nimbat type, which is our woodland Nimbats. They are your
The soft.
typical, if you think of fidget, that's a woodland Nimbat. They're, short-haired bat cats with wings, tail, whatever. Susie has an itch and she's making it everyone's problem. Um,
Is she like bunting up against you, going scratch me?
no, she's just trying to sneep, but it's not really working for her. But anyway, so uh,
Um,
it's your
this is kind of
typical
where,
bat cat, huh?
yeah, like so. But I want to backtrack
What?
a little because I did want to speak about subspecies, and this is the part where I get a little bit of my other the main no that one
The
uh
what?
my main degree, my bio.
Oh, right.
Because what actually got me interested in this was actually talking
It
about.
wasn't my charm. That's sad.
I mean, yeah, your charm had a little bit to do with it.
I don't believe you.
What the fuck? I liked the idea of it. I liked what you were going with it.
mm,
You know
yeah,
what?
okay.
I want to include
That's a mage.
something about this. I'll fucking squish you, anyways.
You have tried in the past and
It'll work this time. I promise.
failed.
So, um, I mean, with the because we already had like a basic standard for how the forest bats work, at least on the physiological side of things,
hmm
because it isn't really all that difficult to map things out. It's like, okay, these guys live in climates or moderate climates.
Yeah,
These
your mic is
guys,
cutting out a little bit. Just a
wah
little bit.
wah 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 wah.
Here
Hello.
you go.
Ah, whatever. So yeah, talking in more in regards to like moderate climates and stuff.
hmm
They have wings that they use mostly for a mix, like kind of basing it off of fidget again.
hmm
We have like rapid beating of wings,
Yep.
and mostly just like I would almost say closer to how we have domestic, like
Domestic what?
Nimbat, domestic cats,
Yeah.
like forest land or woodland Nimbats are kind of closer in that regard. So
hmm
it's like you're kind of closer to your good old domestic cats, but with a bit more flourish.
Yeah.
So there isn't really a whole lot to say about that. But when it came to the others, now we really had to sit down and ask ourselves, okay, so what actually happens to their fucking bodies whenever they evolve in different parts of the world?
hmm
And I'm gonna go ahead and get the my favorite one out of the way because I love it. Savannah Nimbats.
Yep.
I love these long motherfuckers.
Long beans.
Like the moment we talked about any of these subspecies, I was like, okay, I'll do it. But on one condition, we need to get like a fucking serval Nimbat. We
And
gotta
I
get.
said, we already have one.
Yeah, and now we're going to mass produce these. I want 50 have potentially
You
50.
you cut off again and you just said fifth.
50.
Yeah, I know, but
50.
I
Okay.
know, but I'm just telling you what stream has heard.
Okay. Actually, I guess on that front, maybe I'll go ahead and like um do some sensitivity stuff. I don't know. Hold
Maybe.
on. How about 53? Maybe 53.
Maybe.
No, I don't think that. How about 57? I feel
Maybe.
comfier with 57.
Okay.
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 All right. That should hopefully deal with like any sort of like sensitivity stuff. So the point is, yeah. We have Savannah Nimbats because immediately right off the bat, we're like, yeah, we need like fucking serval based Nimbats. I love
Yes.
servals. They're great. They go wow, and they're very long
Meow.
and they're very docile. Um, I don't think I've ever seen a serval that's got that dog in them. But if they ever did, that would terrify me.
You know,
Uh,
Finbat can't blink like that one guy in that meme, you know?
big blinkies.
Blink, 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 blink.
Blink,
Like,
blink,
anyway. But I just did that.
blink, blink. Uh, But
But
from there, it really came down to a matter of trying to get a good analogy with actual servals and put that into a Nimbat form.
mhm.
So servals themselves are not especially Savannah made. Like, okay, for the most part they are, but it's a lot more complicated than that.
Mm.
Let's just say there is a reason as to why they are able to be domesticated, and it's a bit strange.
Well, hold on.
So,
I'm gonna pause champ you on that one.
yeah,
Savannah cats are not servals. Servals are not Savannah cats. They are two very
that's my
different
point.
things.
Yeah. Like, this is
Um,
the point where we're talking about servals and Savannah cats, which
and
are
even
two very
then,
different things.
this is where my big cat nerd comes out. Even then, they're not really good to have as pets because they do still have that dog in them a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, namely, there I was okay. This is a wild story, but I went to Carol Baskin's Big Cat Reserve,
Okay.
like Carol Baskin from the show Tiger King. Carol Baskin. And by the way, she was like done really dirty by that. So fuck
Oh,
Netflix. Um, but it's a big cat sanctuary where there are big cats that are rescued from people because like it is weirdly legal to own big cats in places that are like not supposed to have big cats. Like in New York City, you could own a cat like a tiger in an apartment and it would be legal.
huh.
Yeah, it's fucking dumb. But Savannah cats and servals by proxy um will actually like
I mean, I don't want to know why. I think I know
no,
why.
no, 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 no. Like their ears are very big, like mine. And they will hear mice running underneath the floorboards in people's houses, and they will fucking tear up the floorboards to get at the mice.
Oh my god, that's
Like,
amazing.
yeah, like literally fucking destroying floors to get to the mice underneath them. So yeah, but it's beside the point of like these beans, we wrote in their lore that they can run up to 40 miles an hour. I don't think that's right.
Maybe not.
Can we
Maybe not.
talk about that for a sec? Like, how
Let's.
fast does a
I don't
cheetah
really.
go?
Just like fucking flying down the field like a fucking bullet, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh, okay,
a
buddy.
cheetah goes 50 miles an hour. Leopards can move 36. Jaguars apparently are 50, which I don't believe. Um, but like, yeah, hold on. How fast is Usain Bolt? Like,
He's
top
kind of
speed.
insane, Bolt.
27 miles an hour,
Yeah, the
which
fastest person that we have recorded so far is
ever,
only a
ever.
little over half of
Yeah,
what.
so maybe we, hold on,
Maybe
average
not.
person. Average top speed of a human is 28 miles an hour, apparently. That also doesn't seem right. No, I said average.
Yeah, like what the fuck? We want average. I'm gonna look it up too.
Google
Average.
10 to 12 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So like uh, maybe we drop that by I don't know 30 miles an hour or
Something
20
like that.
like
Maybe it'd be
20. I think 20 is good.
yeah.
Hold on.
But we knew, just like in general, we knew that these guys had to run pretty
That's
fast,
about
at
32
least faster
kilometers.
than woodland nimbats, because it's just like, hello, savannah.
Yeah.
And we were making like other little nuance changes here and there. It's like, oh well, with their wings, because with the caveat of having wings, it's like that means that they would be able to avoid most ground-based predators.
Mhm.
But it's not to say that they would be really trying to scour the trees like nimbats, woodland nimbats do. They're not really trying to get any actual heights because they're not interested in any food up there. The only food they're interested in is what's on the ground, which is this massive, wide open savanna field where there isn't that many trees. Um, There's some foliage, and that's about it. Um, so much of what the wings would be used for is just gliding, more or less. Like, yeah, you get some height to avoid predators, but they're kind of just not as developed wings. Like, these are very much like gliders,
Yeah.
more or less. Um, yeah, the Savannah Nimbats are like among one of my favorites because I I'm just waiting for someone to make one, and they just unironically go wah wah. They're great. Oh man. But then I guess I can go ahead and get the other elephant out of the room real fast. The cave Nimbats, the
Yes.
scrunkly motherfuckers,
Yes.
was another very interesting physiological kind of thing for us to make because for this, it's like this seems strange for a Nimbat at first. Like it
Mm-hmm.
seems a bit strange considering everything that we've seen so far. It's like, why would you have these guys just hanging out in caves and getting all scrunkly and weird like that? Like, that seems a little bit like an antithesis to a lot of the things that we'd already kind of developed. But the more we kind of looked into it, it's like, really, what's kind of going on is that, in a weird way, they are leaning more into the bat side of things with their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, it came down to a matter of, all right, well, what would it be like if they were kind of more cavern based? We allowed some nuances here and there. It's like it's not to say that they never go outside or anything, or they don't like the daytime. It's like I mean, they
Well,
do. Just
no, they don't. They
like okay,
they
I
get
mean, like
blinded by the sun.
I need to underline something. It's
Yeah.
like they would much rather prefer the controlled ecosystem that is the caves, and if they ever do go outside, it'll mostly be during the nighttime. If they do go out during the daytime, which is very possible, something they do,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, do. Um, that's usually just in the case where it's out of necessity and they usually have like some kind of protection against it. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
why they're wearing hoodies, or they have like big old hats, or maybe just imagine one like holding a massive parasol. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you looking at? I got my. Sorry, I can already think of just a Nimbat holding this recently released Final Fantasy 14 parasol. It has like little bunny ears sticking out of it. It's like a lot.
Oh.
It's
See,
like
you shouldn't mention that to Ren because then she'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna draw that," and then spend like 6 hours drawing
oh, that's gonna be great. Just a little
it.
guy holding a like a big old umbrella with bunny ears on. It's like, don't laugh. I need protection. um, but in regards to how they normally live, the cave Nimbats, that is, so they're in their controlled environments, and a lot of their features are kind of pay homage to that idea because they have much
Homage.
more. Shut up. They pay much more like homage to I stop it. I'm gonna cry. I will actually cry. Yeah, enough. I was born and raised in the fucking Missourians, and you know, like sometimes things get said in I would arguably say cooler ways than how everyone
Homage.
else. Oh, shut the
Okay.
fuck up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! So, my God. What was I even
I
talking
don't
about? I'm
know.
just angry now.
You talk about how back how Cave Nimbats pay homage to something.
Oh my, okay. Yeah. I'm so mad. Oh my God. If you fucking clip this,
You know I'm gonna.
I will find you. God.
Okay, you were saying.
Cave Nimbats.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to give them features that paid more homage to that idea with shorter fur and glossier eyes. and maybe just a little bit scrunklier looking. The
Uh-huh.
wings were, for me personally, some of the more like, all right, what the fuck would we kind of do with these? Like, would they fly more or would they fly less? Are they gliders? Are they flappers? Are they more degraded looking wings? Like, this was just something where I had to kind of sit down and go, like, all right, well, these are clearly more akin to like bats. And bats fly. Bats can fucking fly. Sort of.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of wanted to make it more like that, but at the same time, it was just like, yeah, but they're not quite bats. Like they kind of also tend to just kill, and like I'm already just kind of thinking of this is a fucking you know, cave nimbats just tend to be like those cool wizards that hang out in the cave and they're making wizard beer.
I don't think that's
No, they're not. I'm not even.
no. I personally I see cave nimbats as the scrunkly gremlins.
You kind of called them the drow, like they're like
That was the original concept for them,
yeah.
yeah. But it is kinda morphed from uh being a drow to being just closer to a little goblin a little
Uh-huh.
bit. And
Just a
personally,
freaky
like
nature.
personally, I like that a little bit more. Though
Yeah.
that is something that can potentially be looked into further of just like fully subterranean. Those would
Mhm.
probably be closer to like a drow in the sense of like quiet sophistication and like uh what is it? Or they'd be closer to like oh my god. There was like a piece of media with like weird underground creatures. They remind me of a Kazu
Monster
from
Hunter?
Monster Hunter, yeah, but like it's not a Kazu. I'm not making a Kazu Nimbat.
Mm,
um, but that could be like a subvariant of cave Nimbats of just like really deep living Nimbats that are like really alien looking. But that's for another time. But they are the Skrunkles. They are the most skrunkly of everybody. Which like, I like because, they're just weird looking in comparison to every other Nimbat. And, it's they're
yeah.
yeah. I like them.
They're just funky little guys.
Yeah.
They're fucking creatures.
The creature. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
though one that I think Ren was the originator of was the aquatic Nimbat,
Yeah, okay, I wanna talk a
which
little bit about that one, which is
I
like
like a lot.
I
I
was
like them.
so 50-50 on it because even now I'm kinda going like, aquatic nimbats, how the fuck?
Mhm,
'Cause for me, it's like at first, I had, like, no frame of reference at the top of my head to
mhm.
really get an idea for, like, how would that work? Because I'm
Well, they
like, "Come on,"
swim.
like, they're yeah, they swim, but I'm like, "Alright, look, for whatever fucking reason, I was like, we're not making fish, are we?"
No, 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 because
And then
fish aren't mammals, idiot.
I know, I was getting to that.
Nimbats have
Um,
titties.
yeah, and titty soft.
Sure,
Um,
I guess.
what um that's when I kind of realized, oh yeah, we're kind of somewhat mostly basing them off otters,
Oh yeah,
and that was kind of where more of the stuff began to like peak out
yeah.
in terms.
That's where Ren got like, oh, like really
Yeah,
excited.
like Ryan's just like gotta make an otter Nimbat. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
Uh,
And what was put out for that design for one was like, okay, yeah, I'll take 20. I would
mhm,
like to have at least 37 of these within the
mhm.
premises.
They're like mermaids, but not fish. So really just
Ooh,
like otters, but
cool.
um, something that I am curious about with their design is their big old ears, because if you know about aquatic life, they either don't have ears or they have very small ears. So I'm wondering how they will work. I assume that aquatic nimbats have like a way to like close up their ear holes when they're swimming. Because that's what like seals and otters do.
Hmm.
Um, and I presume whales, but I don't know. Um, but regardless, that's the yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
But
yeah,
they're
so
very cute.
they're really cute. I like them a lot. They look a little flimsy, but that's okay. Uh,
Fish good.
because fish good. Um,
Fish.
uh, fish.
I
Let's
can't
see.
believe someone showed me where that came from, and I'm
You
ashamed
haven't?
now.
You didn't know about that?
I didn't know where it came from,
Hello, Susie.
but now I do.
Hi. Sorry, Suze said hello. I don't know if stream heard that, but
Hello, Snoozy.
you guys must have heard that one.
Oh God, my allergies, my allergies, my allergies, my
Fish orgy.
oh,
Yeah.
fish
Actually,
orgy,
hold on. I think
fish.
hold on. I gotta
Oh God.
see, this is the fun that we get to have
Oh.
on this stream because I hold on.
Mm.
I gotta invite myself to one of my soundboard servers really
Dying.
quick.
Oh.
um not
Oh,
that one, not that one. Maybe it's this one? Uh
I'm getting sneezy.
don't
Sneeze.
well, that's your fault. Um
Ah!
but the fun thing is that I mean, not fun, but I genuinely cannot believe you didn't know where that came from.
Oh.
It's fucking iconic.
Oh.
Did you sneeze again?
Yes, I did. Finn,
Fish.
I am allergic to everything from outside during this time of the year.
Okay. Fish.
Like, I have a problem. Fish.
Condemning
Fish.
frequencies trainer to the Goldeen Pond.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
Have
That's
you,
what
have you ever,
Palace said. Uh,
Alice, have you ever been in one of those, I guess these are more frequent in springs or like, massage places or something like that. But have you ever been in one of those spots where,
the fish eat your toes.
yeah, there's like the fish that eat your toes and all the, like they eat the dead skin off of
They're
your.
freaky.
They are quite eat. They eat if it's dead skin, they will eat it,
No,
and they don't
I
care
mean
where
they're
it is.
freaky because they suck toes.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they're freaky, but like
That's
that's
what I
just
meant. Frequency.
that's just living in Nebraska.
I huh?
Yeah. Oh God, that's a story for me.
That's a story for not now.
Oh God.
So to finish off, uh, going over the subspecies. Fuck. We have Gale Riders. Gale Rider Nimbats.
Yeah,
They
and
they're not like my favorite, but they're in my top 6. That's for sure.
they be flying a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
they got big
and
old wings, big old gliders, big old
yeah,
wings.
lighters.
Don't say
Yeah,
it like that.
yeah. Like
Don't
looking at their big gliders.
shut up.
Oh my God.
uh,
Is is that literally just like a spray bottle for me at this point?
yes.
Oh my God. That's fucked up.
Actually, I don't know if my phallus that sucked.
Gliders.
Okay. So
Uh,
there's a
yeah,
plane
so
flying over me right now. It's very loud.
it's a, they got the gliders.
Anyway, so they
That's the sound
are
of Finn
we
fucking
were
gun.
like okay. We were thinking about I was specifically thinking about getting like an Arctic tern Nimbat. And for some reason, this stinker, meaning frequency, was like, man, I don't want to do that. Explain
Yeah.
yourself.
Explain what? Sorry.
Not wanting an Arctic tern Nimbat.
Um, what was my reason for it?
I don't think you
So
had one.
I think a lot of it was just like
Let's see.
why? Like just why?
Mm.
Um, so these guys, in case you don't really know how Arctic terns are, um, despite the name, they're like, ah, well, clearly they're from like the Arctic. They must be getting down with the fucking puffins. They do not always get down with the fucking puffins. In fact, they get down with basically everywhere from like, well, yes, there's the Arctic, but there's also just like regions of Europe, Asia, and North America. Like, they go fucking everywhere. So that's kind of the point. Like, they're very migratory birds. Um, they breed in the Arctic,
Hmm.
but I'm at here per. Thank you for the courtside commentary, Susie.
Stream
Um,
is getting a lot of it. She just uh,
yeah, you get some
started making
Susie.
noise, and now I'm bothering her.
And so the Arctic terns, very interesting birds, very pretty looking birds, very cute.
Hmm.
They don't really displace puffins for me because I think puffins are the fucking best. But the reason, I like, I don't have a specific reason against Arctic tern nimbats. I just said like, why?
Yeah.
Why does it specifically have to be Arctic terns? Like, what are you getting at, more or less? Meow.
She put her paw in my mouth because I'm bothering her. Um,
Hold on, give me
so
like 5 seconds.
yeah. So essentially, we came to the conclusion that this was kind of designed backwards in the sense of like we weren't thinking about where a Nimbat would go to develop certain features. It was more if a Nimbat developed certain features, where would they go? So Gale Rider Nimbats being the big winged, big old dick, big lung, hog swanging guys they are. Uh, most of that is not true. They're very aerodynamic. So um, we were like, all right, so what if they were just like, uh, what if we just made them like nomadic, but they live in mountainous regions and they soar. And then we were like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And that kind of is good. And then slowly we refined the idea a little bit. Um, and they're more or less like how a Nimbat is to a bunny, a Gale Rider is to a hare, if that makes sense. That's a way that I have started to kind of look at them. Um, in the sense of like they are like big. That's kind of, I mean, they have big wings, but
I am.
welcome back. I just said that Nimbats, like forest Nimbats, are to bunnies how Gale Riders are to hares.
Yeah, I can see that. I believe
Yeah.
it.
So that's more or less what it is. Um,
Yeah.
meh. um, but yeah. So frequency. You said you had to go like you only had like an hour, right?
Yeah, I think I got stopped around like in 10, maybe 20
Yeah.
minutes.
So
So,
in the last 10 minutes, I wanted to open it up to the floor for anybody in chat if you guys had
does anybody
questions.
have any
It
question?
doesn't have to be about specifically these beans. It could be about literally anything to do with the lore.
It
And
could
then
be
it'll
about me.
send.
It could be about Finn. Ask questions about Finn. Ask questions about his lifestyle.
You could also ask questions about Susie, and I'd have her answer. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll get too much out of her. um,
We could always try.
what are you doing? Oh, she's okay. Will the eye
Will the
situation be addressed? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, what's the eye situation? Are you talking about what the fucking
The different kinds
with
of eyes that Nimbats can have? Or
Yeah, like, are we trying to address why some have pupils and why some don't?
look at Finn and Wavy right now? Oh yeah, okay. So that's a good question, and no, I don't have an answer for
No, we don't.
it. So generally,
Mm.
no. I would argue that like if you are Nimbatified, you're always going to have eyes like mine. If you were born Nimbat, you'd probably have ones that are closer to frequency and wavy, but you could also have the normal looking eyes. Um,
I think what it
that I
really
think
comes
we
down
are just like purely putting up to character creator preference.
yeah, like, it's somewhat traditional, quote, unquote, to have pupilless eyes, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just kind of entirely basing off fidget, and so it really at that point, it kinda comes down to a matter of like, alright, well, it really is just your preference, there really isn't, like, a big answer to it. If you want a big answer to it, you could just simply say, like, "Well, it's just kinda more of a genetic thing, but it doesn't really actually have any, like, real purpose." It's like the pupils are simply not visible, or sometimes they're just simply not there. But it
Yeah,
doesn't really seem to create any kind of actual differentiation in how either of them see. It's just kind of like, "Well, it's there, I guess."
yeah. So it's really just like it's up to whatever you want, really. I don't think we're gonna like have a specific style guide or whatever for that. Like I
Mhm.
would consider our sketches and our like uh what's it called? Of normal Nimbats, normal in air quotes, of our five like six like phenotype specimens. I think those are like good guidelines to create your character, like create your Nimbat
Mhm.
using our system. Um, but that doesn't mean that one, you have to, or two, you have to fully adhere to all of this either. Um,
Oh, no.
with eyes in particular, I think it really is just going to be full preference because, like, honestly, it just doesn't really matter. uh, not like much of it does, but yeah. Did that answer your question, Palace?
If it doesn't, I'll eat you.
No, don't. What? Why? Huh?
Oh.
Hello, Evan. We're doing. We're ending relatively soon. Sorry. But if you have any questions about anything Nimbat Colony related, um, just feel free to ask it. We're gonna be on for another like 7 minutes or so. But also, you can watch back the entire VOD because we can do that now, and we're actually gonna upload this one to YouTube too.
And then it'll include my lovely homage to,
Homage.
Midwestern language. God damn it.
Oh, that's whose. What do you want to say? Oh,
Oh, I see. Well, I'll be sure to note that down.
anything else?
No? Okay. Just wanted to get the important bits out of the way, I understand.
That's fair.
Uh, yeah.
Um, if there are any questions whatsoever, you guys have a little bit more time to talk about it, and
Yeah,
then
we can yep, yep.
we'll be calling it then, kind of.
Oh, man. Ooh, Finn, I gotta send you something.
Jesus Christ,
I gotta send you
he
something.
has a small penis. Everyone. Fish.
You have a
Yeah,
what?
we were talking
Fish?
about we were talking about the aquatic, or we were talking about all of the subtypes or subspecies today, and we were talking briefly about fish. Oh,
Please turn up
oh,
your volume.
I heard.
You
Oh,
scared squealess? Poor baby.
wow. I have it set up so they can't actually hear that, but it's good. Yeah. So we were talking briefly about the aquatic nimbat, how they're not like fish; they're closer to like otters. Um, because we got an otter on staff. We gotta have an otter nimbat.
That we do. And, I'm glad we got him.
Can you stop messing with that, Susan? Jesus.
Otter bats,
Yeah.
otter bat.
Stop it.
Because otters are H.
Oh. You've seen you were I showed you those videos from Kotaro and Hana, the two otters in Japan, right?
I think so. I
They're
forgot.
they're very good otters. It's Kasumet on YouTube, I think.
Hmm.
Older.
Otter, otter, otter. Snoot.
Whoa.
Wee. I love otters. I'm glad I got to see otters.
Yes. So yeah. Um gonna leave it open for another 2 3 minutes. To see
Yeah.
otters. Wow.
Yeah.
No, the sea otters is Evan's fun.
Wait. Aha. 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 I'll fucking destroy you, I swear to God.
Frequency, you don't
Anyway,
have a fucking leg to stand on. Shush.
you said you I had 2 legs!
Nope. Not when
And
you're on
pretty
the
soon I'm
bed.
about to have 3!
Jesus fucking Christ, people outside. Sorry. Jesus. Anyway,
Is what outside?
it's just like the fucking just people with tiny, tiny penises being like, oh, I gotta make as much noise as I can. I'm trying to record a podcast here, god damn it. Stupid assholes. Anyway.
Some people are just loud.
Yeah. Their name is Frequency. Anyway,
I am.
are you
I'm
gonna
gonna.
are you gonna look at me in my eyes, in my big ol' eyes? Are you gonna tell me? Are you gonna fucking tell me that you're gonna you gonna fucking tell me that
Yeah.
you're not loud?
No, I'm loud. I'm just
Okay,
saying
good.
I am selective about it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yours is
That's what
just
I
didn't
thought.
care.
That's what I thought.
I'm just not
Anyway.
like loud all the time.
Frequency, you didn't see it on screen, but I turned Finn
Yes,
that
I
around.
fucking did. You know, I was like looking around. It's like, yeah, it is like I'm gonna wait for him to fucking turn around on stream. But there it is. Like, there it is. Oh my God.
Anyway, well, I think that's it for now. Thank you all for joining us. This is our first episode of Battalk. We'll probably be back next week talking about something else.
We'll see.
And yeah, so thank you guys for joining. If you haven't already, follow us on Blue Sky. Also, you can find us on YouTube at the Nimbat Colony on YouTube. Um, if you like what we do, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Nimbat Colony. If you want to hang out with us off stream, discord.gg/Nimbat Colony. Or maybe it's the Nimbat Colony. I don't know. I should probably learn these things. Anyway, that's all we have. If you guys have more questions, you can put them in Ask a Developer on Discord. Anyway, that's all. Goodbye, everybody.
Farewell, friends.